Write essay tips and tricks. Let's have a look at some excellent tips, tricks, recommendations that we have to help you get a high score in write essay. The very first one, and I've been repeating it a lot already, pay attention to the structure. Write between 200 and 300 words and write 4 paragraphs. My recommendation, the ideal sweet spot is if you can write around 250 words. So that is, I've seen it's sufficient to adequately cover all kinds of topics that you might get in the exam. And if you try to write 300 words, it unnecessarily increases the chances of grammatical mistakes or some spelling mistakes, or you might end up repeating some points. So don't think that just because the maximum word limit is 300 words, that if I write 300 words, I'll get more marks. No, as long as you've written well and it's between 200 and 300 words, you can get full marks for the content. And the good target is around 250 words, maybe even under 250 words. So 240, 250 words, that is good enough. And as we saw earlier, when we were studying the methods, so you should write 4 paragraphs, an introduction and in the beginning, a conclusion in the end, and 2 paragraphs in the middle where you put forward your point of view or your arguments. Next, add variety. So don't repeat the same points. I've seen so many essay responses where they start talking about one point in the second paragraph, and then in the same paragraph, in the fourth sentence, they just repeat the same point the same way again and again, and then it happens. No, don't do that. One of our steps is to come up with 2 or 3 distinct points. So use the points that you've come up with. Don't repeat the same points. Don't panic. There is sufficient time if you approach the steps properly. So don't repeat the same points. What you have come up with, write them in their separate paragraphs. And don't repeat the same vocabulary. So if you can, when you are reviewing, if you find that there's a word that you have been repeating too often, try to think of a different word or try to think of writing the sentence in a different way so that you don't have to use that word. So basically, avoid repetition. Let's go to the next tip. That is add transitions. If you remember when we were going through the writing masterclass session, we said that one of the main goals of our writing is that whatever we've written, it should be easy for the reader to understand. And that happens. Our writing, it should flow smoothly from one sentence to another, from one paragraph to another. So don't abruptly jump from one sentence to another. Don't abruptly jump from one paragraph to another. See, your thought leads to a sentence, and then logically, your next thought will lead to the next sentence. So you have to show that logic between the two sentences. If the first sentence is a statement and in the second sentence, you want to give an example, then we start with, for example, or as an example, something like that. So that tells us that what's coming up now is an example of what was discussed in the previous sentence. If, for example, we are giving a reason, then we can use something like because, okay, or the result of something as a result. If we want to show contrast between the two paragraphs, we can use words like however. So whatever the relation is, that should become clearer by these connecting words or these transition words. In the download section of your course, you will find a list of these words that you can use in the right situations. Next, go deep. By that I mean, when you introduce a point, when you start writing about something, explore that point fully. What a lot of people do, in the first paragraph, they'll give one reason, they'll give one argument. In the second paragraph, they again repeat that because they don't fully explore the paragraph. Or in the first paragraph, they just write it in 1 line or 2 lines. Then they go to the next paragraph, they write something else. And at the end, then they wonder, why am I not meeting word limit? Why can't I write even 200 words? That is because you are not expanding on the points. So you have to explore each point fully, add examples if possible, right? You have to give examples, introduce a point, explain that point, then add examples. And if you do that, you'll find that there's no need for you to repeat the same thing again and again to try to meet the word limit. Use templates carefully. Now, I know a lot of so-called experts on YouTube and everywhere, they just tell you can use the template and you can get whatever you want. But let me tell you, if you want a very high score or even a high score, then avoid templates. Because the template, by definition, it is something that is made to fit every situation. Okay? They tell you that take this template and use it whatever the essay topic is. Now, let's try to apply this logic in the real world. You go to buy a jacket and you ask, I want a jacket that can fit everybody in the family, or I want a jacket that can fit all my friends, including myself. You'll probably end up getting a very big jacket. It will fit everybody, sure, it will cover everybody, but it will not look good on anyone. It will be too loose, it will be too tight, whatever. That's the same case when you try to use the templates because they are designed to fit everything. But you want your response to look good, as if you've written specifically in response to the question that's given to you. That's why if you follow the steps, if you have done your preparation, if you have spent time, put in some effort, then just avoid using templates. But if you still want to use templates, then make sure your response sounds logical. Again, giving the example of the jacket. I mean, if you must wear the jacket that is designed to fit everybody, then you can at least roll up your sleeves a bit so your hands they start showing. Okay, so you do something that it just doesn't bury you, that you don't end up buried under the jacket. That's the same thing. If you are using a template, then read what you've written. I mean, does it sound logical and natural? Is this how people write in real life? Is this still conveying what I want to say? Just using big words and all of that which these templates have, that's not sufficient. You also have to make sense. And again, if you must use templates, then don't use just one template, prepare multiple templates. So depending upon then the type of question you have, you can pick the templates that most suitable. So instead of just one jacket for all your 200 friends, you buy 10 jackets, like the friends who are above 6 feet, you buy one jacket for them. The friends who are just 5 feet tall, you buy one jacket for them. So if you have multiple templates, then the chances that you will write something that is reasonably good increases. So prepare multiple templates. We have some sessions in this course just on templates, and we have taken this approach there. We will show you multiple templates, different templates that you can use for different types of questions. The final tip that I have, and in my opinion, one of the most important suggestions that I can make, always review in the end. Use the 20 minutes wisely and make sure you have about 3 minutes. Yeah, that'll be ideal. If you have 3 minutes in the end for a review, it will help you to improve the structure. See that everything is in 4 paragraphs. All 4 paragraphs, they have a clear concern. There's clarity. You can check for vocabulary. You can check for spelling and grammar errors. If your text sounds too familiar, if you think all my sentences, they are simple sentences, similar type of structure, I've used some words again and again, then you can use those 3 minutes to add diversity to your text. And finally, you can review the text to make sure that you haven't strayed away from the main topic. Okay. If you find that in the final paragraph, in the third paragraph, I started talking about like a specific something which was related, but which wasn't the main topic, then you can decrease that and you can come back to the main topic. So there's still time for that. That's why review is very, very important. So those are the tips and tricks that we have for you. Follow these, and I'm sure you'll enjoy writing a high scoring essay.